Welcome back, trainers. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to be covering item management and buddy Pokemon that you should be walking. I'm just going to cover that briefly really quick. So I'm walking Persian, changed its name to Bigglesworth because people were like, why are you walking, or why is it named Mr. Biggs when it's a female? Because, I'll explain this once more, before we had genders, it was just genderless, and I named it after my friend's cat who came up missing, and he was, a good friend of ours, the cat, for many, many, many years. He's a very old cat, and his name was Mr. Bigglesworth from Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, right? So I just named it Bigglesworth because it kind of just seems a neutral name. So now that that's cleared up, there you go. As to why am I walking it? Team Rocket, I just feel like walking Persian. You just get those feelings to walk something else sometimes. So let's talk about CELEBI and what do you want to be walking, and then we'll get into item management, okay? So, we possibly may see something right off the bat for the CELEBI quest that says earn 1 candy for your buddy. Now, if you're walking an Eevee, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Not such a big problem. I mean, it's 5 kilometers, and maybe you might be on, 4 kilometers, so you'll need to walk 1 more kilometer to get that buddy candy. Possibly, we might even see evolve to Espeon or Umbreon. And if that's the case, if you're prepared with your Eevee, you've walked 10 kilometers already, you can just bingo do it immediately, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's get into item management. Now, if you live in a big city, you're really not going to have much to worry about. And I'm pretty sure you have all your items under control as to which ones you need and which ones you don't, and you have a system that works for you. For the role players, I'm sorry, you probably have to hold on to everything you ever have and just not toss much. Use all your resources to your advantage. Here in Alaska, in Anchorage personally, it's almost like a rural area. Some people who live here are probably laughing like, no, it's not. Well, technically, kind of it is. You can go downtown and it's very abundant. And there's a few places around town that have, a few stops and gyms, and it's nice. But it's nowhere near big cities, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm struggling too. We have to go out there and grind for our items. You can't just sit in one spot and collect a ton of items. Technically, if you're at a gold gym and then next to like a Pokestop, you could stock up on items fairly quick if you were sitting there for like an hour or something like that. Other than that, you're just gonna have to go up and down the streets, grinding, hitting everything, But we don't have any of that crazy stuff like 3 cluster gyms right next to each other and like 4 Pokestops, and you don't have to move. Just lure everything up and just It doesn't work like that here. Sure, downtown we have plenty of stops, but it's still kind of scarce. So let's move on. So what potions do you need? You do not need regular potions or great potions. Personally, if you're a lower level, you might want to, or if you're about to go do some gym battles or raids, you might want to hold on to those, do your gyms and raids, and after you're done, use those potions, and then the remainders, toss them. But personally, I hold on to Hyper and to Max, okay? As to how much you need, that's going to be up to you. How much you play. It'll fluctuate between how much items you have of everything else as well. But that's just my bit of advice. Like I said, this is going to be kind of difficult to cover and give one specific set because everybody's playstyle is going to be different. But this is just personally me. Usually I'm stacked on about hyper potions, about 75 or so. I haven't been doing so many gym battles lately because I've just been swamped in Pokemon GO news, and I've just been continuously editing the news videos and pumping those out for you guys. Otherwise, I would be doing those and having like around 50 or so. But also, the biggest problem that I have right now is this. The reason why I don't have so many is the rare candies. So I have to pick and choose what do I need from every item very specifically. So there you go for the potions. Usually the max potions always stay above 70. And you're wondering, well, why do you always need to stay above that? What are you waiting for? I don't know, maybe some sort of crazy gym battle war or something. I always have that in the back of my mind. What if we have just some sort of like crazy event where something happens and I need a bunch of potions? I want to make sure I'm ready, kind of like a prepper, stuff like that, all right? So it goes down to revives. Now, how many revives do you want? Usually have about 75 of those. And now lately I've been sticking around 25 because technically with gifts introduced, it's not hard to get all these items anymore. I mean, you can only open 20, right? But it's still dropping out pretty good amount of items. Yes, they nerfed it, but still, if you're hitting stops, opening gifts, you should be stacked. Unless you're battling gyms all day and all night, you should be okay. But then again, if you're doing that as well, you should still be okay. If you got a Go Plus, you'll be hitting all these gyms and all these stops, and the items will just keep flowing back in. But you will eventually run out, so just make sure you hold on to a certain amount of items specifically according to your grind. Now, this is what I have for me because it works. And I like not having so many regular revives because, well, you don't really need so much. I mean, if I was to go gym battle crazy or raid crazy, I will be in trouble, okay? But I'm not lately, so I'm good on that. Lucky eggs, I mean, I can't give you item management on that. That just depends on how much space you have, and how much lucky eggs you've bought, okay? Incense, yeah, another same thing for the lucky eggs. You just, however much you have, that is what it is. I'm not going to tell you how much you should or shouldn't have. Fast TMs, you don't need more than your charges. You may think you need to stack up on their fast TMs, and you may not want to toss them because they are fast TMs, and you know they're somewhat rare. But think about it. Every Pokemon, for the exception of Mew, has only 2 quick moves. So it's only going to take you 1 try to get what you need, right? Unless you're trying to change all these Pokemon's fast moves right away, then you should have no problem not holding on to too many fast TMs. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen myself have more charges than fast, and I like that. Now, for your charge TMs, you may want to hold on to more of those because, well, sometimes you might find yourself using 10 on one Pokemon, and I'm very sorry if you had to do that to get the move you have, because we all know Pokemon have 3 charge moves, right? Some even have more, like Mewtwo and Mew. And sometimes you might bounce back from one to another, and it just keeps skipping the one you need until finally you land on it. So technically, you're going to be using more charge TMs. So I suggest you hold on to those. And like, I could toss, let's do like that. 30. There you go. 9 items cleared up right away. I was never going to use them. I use a fast TM once in a while, right? And it's not even a big deal. Like I said, there's only 2 items. Now, rare candy. Now, this is all up to you. Personally, for me, I have something planned. I want to dump them into CELEBI, drop them into CELEBI, and when Gen 4 comes out, I have a good idea as to who I want to go for. If you've been watching me for a while, you know who that is, okay? Raid passes. If I could have 100 to 200 raid passes, I would, but I don't because I'm broke and I don't have the money to just buy things like that. But if you do, I suggest you just, hold on to your raid passes. As far as do you need to hoard them like that? Well, if you're buying the sale boxes, then yeah, kind of, because you never know. Well, you know they're going to go away, but you want to buy as many as you can before they're gone. So if you can do that, go for it. Wish I could do the same, but hey, I'm going to take it one day at a time, one raid pass at a time. At least I have an EX raid pass. All right, star pieces. Those are always nice to have. Depends on how many items you have throughout all of your inventory. This is looking great here. I really wish you could buy them individually. Let's go to the shop really fast. You can buy super incubators, but you can't buy star pieces yet. I predict maybe one day they put them out before. I mean, as a special thing, you can just buy them, but it's no big deal. You get them and you get them, right? It helps you increase your Stardust, which is always nice, but I've said this in the beginning, it's going to be hard for me to tell you how much you want of everything because everybody's grind is different. Depends on your schedule, depends on where you're at, depends on what you do in the game, okay? If you're solely grinding Stardust, then you don't need potions, right? And you would stock up on star pieces and Pokeballs, and we'll get into the Pokeballs here in a moment. And since I'm bringing that up, yeah, if you don't battle gyms, you don't need potions. If you're not doing raids, you don't need potions, right? So that's obvious. I don't know why I need to state that. Okay, so let's move on to Pokeballs here. All right, now this is personally me, and I was following this rule for a while until I started having too many rare candies. And that rule was don't toss any Pokeballs whatsoever. If you have to, then go ahead, but it's best to just catch whatever you can. If you're the type of person who doesn't really catch things on the screen, you just kind of go plus everything and just grind raids and gym battles, and then you obviously catch Pokemon, but not as hardcore as you used to, then you're not going to necessarily need your Great Balls. You're going to need more Pokeballs, because you're go plussing them, right? And make sure you have some Ultra Balls for, I don't know, Community Day. But our next one is in August. I know I'm very low on them, and I did that intentionally because, well, by the time August rolls around, I'll have a lot more Ultra Balls for when Eevee Community Day happens, so that's no big deal. But yeah, it depends on what you're doing. If you're somebody who likes to catch constantly, fast catch and all that stuff, I recommend you keep every Pokeball that you have, including the Great Balls. You don't want to toss those, because if you're tossing your Great Balls, that's Stardust gone. You're saying, well, I could just use regular Pokeball or Ultra Ball. Absolutely, if you're stacked up on those, then just use those. It just depends on what items you have the most of. But I was going by this rule for a while. Don't toss Great Balls, because that's literally Stardust out the window. I might as well go to some lures, lure them up, and then just throw my Ultra, or throw my Great Balls and use them up. But I haven't been buying lures, so I don't really need to worry about that too much. Just kind of like go plussing them and catching them at will. And if I do have to catch something super rare in the wild, obviously I'll use my Ultra Balls. And I mean, come on, common sense stuff right there. All right, on to the berries. Now, I don't have much of anything. I recommend the Nab berries, the bananas. You don't need those at all. Feed them to the gym. You don't need any of those. I completely feed my berries all the time to the gyms, and technically these 18 pineapples right here, the only reason why I have those is because I was just opening gifts finally since I transferred some rare candy. So if you do have extra berries, the only ones you really want to stock up on and have are going to be pineapple berries and golden berries. Depending on what your grind is, you'll have as many as you need accordingly, right? So for me, for the pineapple berries, I will usually sit on about 5, and then that's about it. If there's some sort of crazy event happening or announced, then you obviously would want some more of those. But as far as it is now, I don't need them. The golden berries depends on how much you feed your gyms or defend them. And that's about it. If you like to defend all the time, you're probably going to be stacked at between 200 to 300 golden berries. And even if you defend and you don't have that many, well, I mean, like I said, it's different for everybody. All right, now let's move on to the Sunstone, King's Rock, Metal Coat, Dragon Scale, and Upgrade. Now, I've been saying that we might see these introduced to use while the CELEBI quest is out. Oh, evolve, something with the Sunstone, King's Rock, Metal Coat, Dragon Scale, and Upgrade. How many do you need? You don't need much. I find it kind of hard for me to toss the upgrades. I don't want to toss those. Even the Dragon Scales from time to time. Sunstones are the easiest thing for me to toss, because I seem to get those the most for some reason. Maybe because the Pokemon that you evolve using those are not so significant, although Blossom is actually fairly nice. King's Rock, you get Politoed and Slowking. Metal Coat, Scizor, and Steelix. Dragon Scale, just Kingdra. Upgrade, just Porygon 2. Okay? So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you want those Pokemon, I mean, I'm sure by this point, most people have a Porygon 2, a Kingdra, maybe a Scizor and a Steelix, and a Politoed and a Slowking. Sunstone is for Blossom and Sunflora. Alright, so just make sure you have at least one of each, and you should be good on your items right there. Okay, so if you stuck around for my whole video, I'd like to say thank you very much. Hope you like my item breakdown. It's going to vary for lots of different people on what you should have or what you shouldn't have. Your play style, your grind area, how much Pokestops and gyms you have, how much you're raiding, how much you're gym battling, how much you're catching. So keep all those variables in mind. I just gave you my best advice that I could personally go by. Now, I want to tell you one more thing since you stuck around, and appreciate that. So, what do we see in the raids at the moment? Porygon, Electabuzz, and Magmar, right? Not just those, but there's something special about those. And you already know, right? Gen 4. Are they preparing us for the future? I absolutely think that that's what they're doing. You know, if you're asking yourself or thinking, well, what are you talking about? I've been playing this game since it just about came out, or even 6 months after it came out, and I'm stacked on Magmar and Electabuzz candy. I don't need any more. Well, do you have a good IV one? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. And if you're thinking, well, yes, I do. Well, people are joining the game every day, okay? People are still starting to pick this up. Not everybody's been playing for as long as we have, okay? So they possibly are preparing us for Gen 4 with those. So keep that in mind as well, okay? All right, trainers, with that said, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on my next video. Hopefully some exciting news will be dropping anytime now. And if it does, I'll keep you posted. Take care.